Good morning, students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in the last class, we talked about single-phase induction machine. Single-phase induction machine.
Sir, could you minimize the Teams window? It is overlapping with the notes.
Okay. This single-phase induction machine, as the name suggests, we have seen that the machine is supplied by a single-phase AC supply. That is the first point. However, while understanding the machine, we had come to the conclusion that, in fact, it is a combination of two machines, one corresponding to the forward magnetic field and one corresponding to the backward magnetic field. And this forward magnetic field magnitude and the backward magnetic field magnitude are independently acting and producing independent amount of torque, right? And the resultant torque will be an algebraic sum of these two torques. So we use the analytical tools that we had developed for understanding a three-phase machine and used it, but considered that one corresponds to the forward rotating magnetic field and another corresponds to the backward rotating magnetic field. The interesting thing here is the proportion of the forward rotating magnetic field to the, or the ratio of the forward rotating magnetic field to the backward rotating magnetic field is dynamically varying. By dynamically varying, dynamics with respect to the rotor speed. So when we saw that the rotor speed is equal to 0, the magnitude of the forward rotating magnetic field is exactly equal to the magnitude of the backward rotating magnetic field. And as a result, they produce torques which are equal but opposite to each other. And therefore, the machine didn't produce any effective torque. So single phase induction machine intrinsically has a problem of starting. But we had shown, didn't show the means, but we had shown that in case you are able to start it by some means, then this proportion of the forward rotating magnetic field continues to dominate. And if we somehow come to the rated operation, rated speed at which the full load torque has to be delivered, if we somehow can come to that, we see that at that point, the forward magnetic rotating magnetic field is far dominant compared to the backward rotating magnetic field. And therefore, the machine appears at that point to look like a three-phase induction machine. So this was the realization we had. Let us say, and we developed the equivalent circuit of the single-phase machine. This is the stator resistance. This is stator leakage reactance. Then there are two magnetizing branches, you can say. The first branch corresponds to the forward rotating magnetic field, and the second branch corresponds to the backward rotating magnetic field. This is the rotor. This is JXM by 2, JXM by 2. This is JX2 dash by 2. This is R2 dash by 2 S. This is JX2 dash by 2, and this is R2 dash by 2 into 2 minus S. This is R1 JX1. This current may be called as to be IS, This voltage may be considered to be Vs. This is, there are two machines essentially. That's why you have to have two rotor current variables. Two forward. This one I will call it I2 backward. This is the second rotor current. Two rotor currents. This is the uniqueness. There are two rotor currents. And this is the magnetizing current corresponding to backward magnetic field. This is the magnetizing current corresponding to forward magnetic field. This is the voltage EMF corresponding to forward magnetic field. This is voltage corresponding to the backward magnetic field. So this is one machine and this is another machine. Our idea, our concept is like this. So in a sense, we have two rotor currents. We have two rotor currents. In fact, if you think deeply, you will see that this is, when I write I2F dash, I mean that the stator current corresponding to the rotor current due to the forward magnetic field. I take an equivalent stator current. What is seen by the stator? What is felt by the stator due to the rotor current in the rotor that is caused by the forward magnetic field. When I write I2B, I2 maybe I should use a dash, I2B dash, I imply that this is the stator current. This is actually a stator current, but this is the reflected stator current, which is representing the rotor current created in the rotor due to the backward rotating magnetic field. So if you think a little, this original rotor current, the original rotor current, if I write it as I2F, that is the original rotor current, not the reflected one. What is the frequency of I2F? Can anybody say what is the frequency of I2F? Frequency of the rotor current created due to the forward magnetic field. What is the frequency?
SF into omega sin.
S into omega sin. Good. What is this current frequency?
2 minus S into
Omega
omega sin.
2
Omega
minus
sin.
S into minus omega sin, we may say, into, but frequency wise let us not bring in plus and minus. You may say that it is 2 minus S into minus omega sin. Okay, so so suppose I want to write as a time function these currents. What should I write? I should write it as, I'm just taking a steady state, some magnitude is I2 F M, let us say this is the maximum value, into cos of what is that? What it would be? S omega sin into T, and it may have some arbitrary phase shift, phase angle, time phase angle. So I am just representing that as alpha F. I'm just trying to give you a feel of the actual current in the rotor. This rotor current has a frequency component of S omega c, but rotor has another current as well, that is I2 backward. I2 backward, that current is also there, and that magnitude may be qualitatively, I'm writing qualitatively, 2 backward maximum and cosine of minus 2 minus S omega sin into T minus alpha backward, right? The point to be noted that these two are two completely different frequencies in the rotor. in the rotor, because rotor itself is a combination of two rotors. So individually each rotor is producing a current corresponding to the way it sees the magnetic field. The first rotor speed is always omega rotor, but first rotor sees the magnetic field, forward magnetic field is going past him, and the differential speed is as omega is seen. The second fellow is seeing that the magnetic field, the backward rotating magnetic field, is going past him, and the speed is minus 2 minus s omega c, right? Backward rotating magnetic field is going in the reverse direction to the direction of the rotation of the rotor. So it feels that. It feels that there are, so rotor, though it is a single rotor, it has two frequency components, very unique. You have generated two different frequency currents in the rotor in this way. But the stator has no feel of that. After transformation, exactly the way that we have done it earlier, say everything is scaled by 2 minus s, and when we did the derivation of a three-phase equivalent circuit, in exactly the same way if we do, we'll get that the stator is having a frequency of stator current, which is a reflection of the rotor current. Okay, rotor current. Stator current means the stator load current component. Actual stator current may be considered to be Is, but the corresponding to the load component, this is I2F dash, and that has a frequency of the same frequency as the supply frequency. Its frequency is omega. After we are not supposed to talk about 1 minute. This may be omega c into whatever you may say into p by 2, because we are talking about electrical thing. So electrical, you should convert it into that. I will say omega s. I will say omega s. Okay, I will say omega s. So I2F has a frequency of omega s. I2F dash. I2F dash has a frequency of omega s. This also has a frequency of omega s. So how they are linked? The peak of this fellow is linked to this peak, and the peak of this fellow is linked to this peak. Okay, but they are at a different frequency. Okay, very interesting. So this is what is happening inside the. Is there any question?
Sir, in the second line, is that I2B or is it I2F only?
It should be I2B. Thank you.
Okay.
It should be I2B. It is I2B. Yeah, it is I2B. So, so this is how this is perceived by the thing, and the equivalent circuit is that. I want to give you a little more feel. If I want to see it in terms of much simpler thing like a transformer, what it means. Let's say much simpler thing of a transformer. A transformer has two coils. Let us say a primary coil and a secondary coil. And another transformer has a primary coil and a secondary coil. Okay, let us say both cases the number of turns is same, that is n is to 1. N is to 1. Now, what it is done here is equivalently, what is done here is that you connect them in series, plus minus, plus minus. This is the dot convention, dot convention, dot convention, dot convention, dot convention. So you connect them in series and apply an AC voltage here, and you are putting two independent loads here, R2 and R3. Exactly similar thing is happening here. Okay, in the case of transformer, if I do connect two primary coils in series and secondary coils we use two independent loads, then the way the power convention and everything develops, you will be seeing the same thing here. So that is the thing. In fact, if I want to do a little bit of analysis of this, I will do, let us say I call it, this current is I2, I call this current is I3, I call this current as I1, I call this voltage as V1, I call this voltage as V2, I call this voltage as V3. Okay, so I should say what? I should say that Current equation wise, what should I say? N into I1 is equal to I2. This is the first transformer equation. I2 is equal to V2 by R2, and V2 is equal to N V1, V1 by N. V2 is equal to V1 by N. V1 by N R2, right? So I1 is equal to this, and so V1, sorry, not sorry, right? Sorry, I will do that. Right. So we'll say V2, we'll say V2 dash. V2 dash is equal to what? N V2. That is V2 dash is this. This is equal to, because N is to 1 is the trans ratio. So is it this is equal to N square I1 R2 V2. N square I1 R2, right? Right. Similarly, if I want to see what is V3 dash, if I want to see what is V3 dash, that also will be similar. N square I1 into R3. V1 is equal to V2 dash plus V3 dash is equal to N square into I1 into R2 plus R3. So you can see that if I change R2 and R3, the proportion changes. The proportion, and I can find out I1 from here. I can find out what is I1 by dividing V1 by this thing. And I see that the ratio of V2 dash and V3 dash will be dependent on the value of R2 and R3, the independent loads. So this is what is happening. The load is here, in our case, is reflected as a slip. There is no resistance change, but effective resistance change. Effective resistance change is due to the change in the slip. That is what is different in the forward, for the forward magnetic field and for the backward magnetic field.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, means actually in the single phase induction motor, the magnetic field is actually stationary. And if the rotor is moving with omega r, the frequency of current means induced should be omega r. So these two currents should means they should sum up to produce a current that has the frequency of omega n. Means these
No,
two.
no. It will not produce omega r current. It will not produce omega r current. It will produce a different current. That is what you are learning. Because of the rotation, it will produce a combination of two currents. In the rotor, there are two currents of two different frequencies. That is what you are learning. It is not as simple you are doing a first year equivalent circuit and first year resistance. Rotor current is not that. Rotor current has completely different frequency than the set stator supply frequency, and that frequency is in two frequencies are there. One is S omega C, S omega S, let me say, because I am talking in electrical terms, S omega S. In another case, it is 2 minus S omega S. There are two frequency components of the current cycle, but their reflection on the stator is again bringing them back as if that is a supply frequency current.
Sir, what means I was saying that can't we think it like that the magnetic field is stationary and the rotor will be providing with the
stationary is not a right. Magnetic field is pulsating.
Yes.
Pulsating magnetic field cannot is not completely defined by a stationary word. Stationary word is like magnetic field is has a unchanged magnitude. That is what is stationary. Now, it is neither a function of theta nor a function of time, but it is a function of time. In our case, it is a function of time. It may not be a function of theta. Its peak is always at the same place, but it is a function of time. In the case of a DC machine, you can say the magnetic field is stationary. because the magnetic field's magnitude is not changing with respect to time, and its magnitude is also not changing with respect to theta. So in that case, it may be called a stationary magnetic field. Here we should say is pulsating magnetic field, and pulsating magnetic field must always be understood as a combination of a stator and a forward and backward rotating magnetic field, where the magnitude is unchanged, but the speed of rotation is there. So that is the way we have to think it. And this consequence, that's why it is not just a common sense that you can apply. Because actually in the rotor, if somebody is entering into the rotor and sitting there, they will see that the rotor coils are carrying two different frequency currents. That is what they will see. Okay, so that's what I am trying to convey to you. If you are sitting on the rotor, and suppose you are on a rotor and you are looking at what is the rotor current, and there you will see two components of current, I2F and I2B. And I2F, if you see that it is changing as a function of time with a frequency s omega s, and other one is changing with a frequency of 2 minus s omega s. That is what you will see. You will not see a constant frequency, whatever may be that. You will not see one frequency current there. You will see two frequencies. There are two frequencies in the current waveform.
But sir, hello.
Yes.
When we are drawing an equivalent circuit, like
Yeah.
should it not be drawn for a single frequency?
It is done for single. Again and again I am trying to repeat that. This is a stator equivalent circuit. This equivalent circuit is stator. So stator is filling only one current, one frequency. Stator is filling in that way. Here I2F dash, that is the reflection, and the reflection has a frequency of omega s. I2, even if you take the three-phase circuit, you forget about these two. The stator frequency, the rotor, the reflected rotor current is having a frequency of omega s. That is why it is the scaling has been done. That is how the scaling has been done, and it has become R2 dash by 2s. And the rotor circuit actual reactance was SX2. Actual reactance was what in the rotor circuit? SX2. But by scaling, it has become X2 because you have scaled by S. And therefore, there is a frequency scaling, and the current has become of the same frequency as the stator supply frequency. The supply frequency is omega s, and the reflected rotor current is also having a frequency of omega s. This clarity in thought should be there. We are seeing everything from the stator reference frame, Our observation point of view, the observer is sitting in the stator, but had the observer sat on the rotor, that person would have seen a different thing. That person would have seen the rotor current has two frequencies. That would have been his or her observation. Okay, let me continue. Okay, these things doesn't go immediately, but you think, and next class, if you have some doubt, we'll also talk about it. I just wanted to, I raised this just to make you thinking. You think about that, and if required, you go back to the derivation of the equivalent circuit of the three-phase machine. At what point this frequency shifting happens? Original rotor equation was what frequency? Written in what frequency? It was written in a frequency of s omega s. But after division and scaling, if you remember, when we come to from the stator reference frame, we see that everything is rotor current is of the reflected rotor current has a frequency of omega s, not s omega s.
Sir?
Yeah.
So sir, means in the single phase induction motor, the magnetic field produced by the stator is actually is actually like a standing wave. So we cannot say that it's stationary. Therefore, it has two different frequencies.
Yeah. Correct. Yes. Correct. Even the stator, it is correct. That is what it is. It has been broken into two components. One is omega s plus omega s, another is minus omega s. When you see in the rotating reference frame concept, this current, if you break it down. we break it down into two things. One, that means when we write in the structure of omega st minus theta, in this structure when we write it in that. Then we say that there is a forward rotating and there is a backward rotating. And the forward rotating magnetic field creates a forward a voltage corresponding to the forward magnetic field in the rotor. And the same rotor coil again sees the effect of the backward rotating magnetic field and then creates a corresponding voltage. But rotor speed is same. Rotor is rotor. It has a physical mechanical speed. It doesn't have two speed. The magnetic field with respect to the rotor is having two speeds. But the rotor, how does it react to that? Its reaction is only one way. Reaction is Faraday's way, that it should produce a corresponding reaction such that the resultant magnetic field is again stationary. So therefore, the forward, in order to compensate for the forward magnetic field, which is rotating at, moving past him at s omega speed, it generates a current, creates a magnetic field, which is also with respect to him, with respect to the rotor, is rotating at s omega speed. Right? So that they are synchronized again, because rotor itself is shifted at omega rotor, and then s omega s. It meant these two summed up becomes omega s. And the other case, rotor itself is omega rotor, and therefore it has to create current corresponding to minus 2 minus s omega s, so that the resultant is again synchronized to the minus omega s magnetic field. Right. So this is the way it has to react. It has to follow the Faraday's law. It has only one principle, and that principle is fantastic principle, simple principle, and universal principle. It has to produce a corresponding current, and in this case, what is its ability? Its ability is to produce a frequency, a new frequency in the current. That is its ability, and that ability is automatically Faraday's, dictated by the Faraday, right? So it has to respond. It has to respond because it has a coil. It has a short circuit coil. Current has to flow, and the current has to flow means correspondingly frequency will be generated by the difference between these two things, the physical rotor and the magnetic field. That is Faraday's thing, right? Since there are two such frequencies are created in the rotor. Point is, we should not be. I am trying to unnecessarily. Not unnecessarily. I am trying to say that we should develop critical thinking, and we should, even if it doesn't matter. It is very easy to look at the equivalent circuit and half learn things. That everything is at same frequency. Yes, equivalent circuit. Everybody is at the same frequency. Otherwise, it cannot be an equivalent circuit. But this equivalent circuit is drawn with respect to the stator reference frame. Okay, but actual rotor, if we can imagine sitting there, we'll see that there are two frequencies in the current waveform. Okay, we'll move. We cannot get stuck at some point all the time. Some things also have to be learned by you, by your own thinking effort. Okay, so let me take one problem okay, but before taking the problem, let me then go by the our conventional way of looking at what is the air gap power, what is the torque, and let's not deviate from our basic understanding. We should not at any point of time deviate. So what we will write it as internal mechanical power due to forward field is equal to how much? Our old understanding is how much? 1 minus S into PG forward, where PG forward is the air gap power due to the forward magnetic field. Similarly, internal mechanical power, let us take internal torque. Let us first find out internal torque due to the forward magnetic FIELD, forward magnetic field. That will be how much? That is power is 1 minus S P G F and divided by P G F divided by 1 minus S omega sin. So it is like our additional. Only thing we are doing is we are using a subscript. We are using a subscript PGF. Okay. So this is due to the forward magnetic field. If somebody asks you, okay, we'll come to that. What is PGF? PGF is actual expression. We'll come to that. But let us understand it qualitative now. Then tell me what will be the internal mechanical power due to the backward magnetic field. What is that internal mechanical power due to the backward magnetic field? We know the basic power is that is equal to PGB is the basic power minus all the slip power, right? So we know 1 is the basic one, minus of 2 minus S will be here, and that is equal to the internal mechanical power. This 2 minus S corresponds to the loss in the corresponds to the I square R loss. You remember the corresponding to I square R loss, we use slip SPG. Basically, in the three-phase situation, we said anything is S into PG, it corresponds to rotor copper loss, right? Rotor copper loss, right? And or therefore the basic output power is 1 minus S PG. That was the three-phase sense. Here S corresponds to 2 minus S, right? S is 2 minus S for the backward magnetic field. Therefore, the power that is output, okay, internal power. Okay, after that we normally deduct the friction, windage, etc. But before friction and windage, before all those small non-idealities, the internal mechanical power that is available due to the backward magnetic field is this much. So this is equal to how much? This is equal to minus PGB into 1 minus S. So you see the internal mechanical power that is available for production of torque in case of a backward magnetic field has changed its sign. It is minus. Power may be entering positive. Air gap power that is entering the rotor is positive. But the power that is available for production of torque has changed sign. Why it has happened? How can it have happened? Positive power has entered, but the power has become the power that is available for the production of torque is negative. Why? The reason is that the rotor copper loss is so substantial that it has after deduction, the power that is available for production of torque due to the backward magnetic field is now negative, because rotor copper loss is substantial, more than the power that enters through the backward magnetic field to the rotor. The power that enters through the backward magnetic field to the rotor then gets completely wiped off and becomes negative. Negative means somebody has to give it. Who gives it? Actually, practically, it is coming from forward magnetic field. The power forward magnetic field is now has to support power to support the loss of the rotor copper loss due to the backward magnetic field. That part of the copper loss has to be now somewhat a bit compensated by the power coming from the forward magnetic field. Okay, we'll come to that. Maybe I'm going a little fast. So let us do the ordinary way. So it is a negative number. You just see that it is a negative number. So the internal torque due to backward is equal to must be equal to minus PGB into 1 minus S by 1 minus S into omega sin, because rotor speed is same. So it is minus PGB by omega sin. So what is the total torque then? Total internal torque due to both the things. So due to total internal torque, let me don't write it, obviously means due to both the magnetic fields. Total internal torque must be equal to T, what symbol I used? T forward. Did I use any symbol? What is that? Did I use any symbol there? Let us call it T forward, T for TE forward, and this I call it T electromagnetic backward, right? So this is equal to TE forward minus, logically T forward plus TE backward, algebraic. So which is nothing but equal to PGF minus PG backward by omega c. That is what is the torque produced. This is why I said that there will be a torque in the reverse direction due to the backward magnetic field. That is why we are making effort to reduce that TEB effort, or reduce PGB, so that there is no backward magnetic field at least under running condition. There is less amount of backward magnetic field. The backward magnetic field will be as less as possible, right? So so what we know, that power input, air gap power input, is equal to PGF plus PGB, but internal power output is equal to PGF minus PGB. This is what is happening. Internal efforts for production of, for mechanical system, for mechanical internal, let us say mechanical power output. Mechanical power. Internal word is used just to mean that we have not subtracted the friction, etc. The other losses like friction, windage, etc. Right. So,
sir, PGF minus PGB into 1 minus S now, sir?
Yes, you are right. Thank you very much. Correct. Thank you. So rotor copper loss, how much is it? Rotor copper loss in one case is just like due to forward magnetic field. Is equal to how much? S into PGF. Similarly, rotor copper loss due to backward magnetic field is equal to 2 minus S into PG backward. So it's just changing the slip part and taking two machines. This is basically, there are two machines. So each machine has its own air gap power. So think from that concept, you will get all the things without any doubt. Right. And I wanted you to note that I wanted you to note that is PGB is is less than 2 minus S into PGB. That means the rotor copper loss, this part is greater than whatever power that is entering through the backward magnetic field, entering the rotor through the backward magnetic field. So we can have a little simpler understanding or a pictorial understanding of the situation that is happening in the machine. Let me take another page. That is, if I consider this is, let us say, SPGF subtracted. This is PGF, and that is 1 minus SPGF, right? That is should be getting added. Before that, we take PGB plus
So the arrow of S into PGF, it should be opposite now. This means dissipated.
I use sign of I have to start again this program. I was using a negative sign, negative thing, symbol.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Plus minus, that was minus. Huh? I was using the minus symbol. Okay. So I was doing this. This is PGF. This is plus, this is minus. This is the adder block. In control system, we use this sort of symbols. That is, and this is SPGF. This is 1 minus SPGF, right? And there is another block, another one is PGB plus, this is 2 minus SPGB. This is minus 1 minus SPGB. This is plus and this is minus, right? So 1 minus SPGB, and these two things are now added. To give you the PGF minus PGB into 1 minus S. Whereas this one, this one is summed up here. And this is where this sums up, and this is where how do I do this? I give, let us do it, break it. Let me do this way.
Sir, in the backward part, means the backward magnetic field part, the rotor copper loss as we see is more than the backward air gap power. So what is the means extra rotor gap, rotor copper loss coming, that it is dissipating? It's coming from the
forward fellow. It is coming from the forward fellow. The forward fellow is pushing something here. Forward fellow, that's why forward fellow's power is reducing. Forward flow has 1 minus S PG here, but it is something it is giving to the backward flow to compensate for the copper loss, and therefore this power, its power is reducing. Its power, actual power output is reducing. Okay, forward flow could have produced an output of 1 minus S, but due to because of the reason it has to compensate for the copper loss in the backward copper loss in the rotor with backward magnetic field, the actual output power coming out of the machine is reducing. So that's what I wanted to show, that don't be surprised that individually the rotor, this is PG total power PGF plus PGB that is coming here, and then they divide into two parts. Let me give you some qualitative understanding. Let us try to do that. Let us say it is 200 watt. Let us say 200 watt. Then let us say it is 180 watt and it is 20 watt. Let us say this copper loss is let us say this copper loss is let us say this copper loss is 10 watt, and let us say this copper loss is 40 watt, right? So here if it is 10 watt, then here it is 170 watt, right? And here it is 20 watt, so it is minus 20 watt. That means another 20 watt is pushed from here by the stator magnetic field. So 170 and 20 going here, actual output will be 150 watt. Could you follow me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Understood.
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
sir, will the rotor rotate exactly synchronism with the forward magnetic field?
Rotor rotates in synchronism with forward magnetic. What you want to ask?
Sir,
Accordingly, S is equal to 0, and another S is equal to 2 and 2 minus S. I will put S is equal to 0. So what is that? Whatever is coming, I will take that. I will put S is equal to 0.
okay, sir.
Okay, so let's take a few numbers and solve one problem. So how to actually solve it? Let's take that. Now I'm quickly writing the specification of the machine. I hope I don't have to write too much of language. The machine is 110 HP, 60 Hertz, 4-pole, okay, machine, and the parameters as per the equivalent circuit. Refer to the equivalent circuit. So that parameters are S is equal to 2. All are in ohm. X S is equal to 2.79 ohm. R2, not R2 by 2, but R2 original itself, R2 dash we may say 4.12. X2 dash is equal to, we can say 2.12, and XM we can say, all refer to the stator 66.8, all are in ohm. And after that they have given some data which I am not immediately considering, that is core loss is equal to, this will come later at the end, friction and windage loss. Friction and windage is equal to what I did, 110 HP, no, 110 volt machine. This is a 110 volt machine, and this is 13 watt. So this is a single phase supply. It's an American machine. So American machine means 110 volt supply. Their single phase supply system is 110 volt, and the frequency is 60 hertz. So we have to do that for a slip of is equal to 0.05. Find all the things. Find all the things we used to do. Stator current, power factor, power output, etc., etc. Speed, what is that? Rotor speed, torque, all sorts of things, and efficiency if you want, and efficiency. All sorts of parameters as we had done for a three-phase machine, we would like to find that. So now the approach is somewhat mechanical. Mechanical means we know we'll just apply formulas type of thing. We'll just do our circuit analysis. No concept is required now. So first we will draw our equivalent circuit to clear our mind, and then we'll write this, and then we'll write this, and then we'll write this. This is the equivalent circuit, right? And we know the parameters. This RS, JXS, JX. You understand that JXM by 2. The value is given is XM, but I'm right. Actual thing is JXM by 2, JX2 by 2. This is R2 dash by 2S. This is R2 dash by 2 into 2 minus S. This is JX2 dash by JX2 dash by 2, right? So first thing we have to do is to find out the equivalent circuit. Equivalent circuit means this one. We will convert this part with an equivalent thing of RF plus J plus JXF by 2. The other part of this will convert it to another equivalent circuit corresponding to R backward plus J backward by 2. So this is nothing but JXM in parallel with R2 by 2S, not 2, we will not write 2, JXM by R2 by S plus X2 dash whole divided by 2, okay, and this will be JXM in parallel with R2 dash by 2 minus S plus X2 dash and whole divided by 2, right? So this is the equivalent forward and backward magnetic field, and these numbers will be, in this case, with this thing, if you calculate, these numbers will be for slip is equal to 0.05, red color, S is equal to 0.05. These numbers are RF plus JXF is equal to 31.9 plus J 40.3, and RB plus JXB is equal to 1.98 plus J 2.12. You see, our common sense is satisfied, because these resistances are equivalent resistances, or equivalent impedance is much smaller than the forward magnetic field. Therefore, the voltage division is also unequal and much smaller, right? Because they are put in series, right? The supply system of them is in series. So therefore, the voltage drop across RF plus JXF is much higher compared to the voltage drop across RB plus JXB. It is as per the impedances. The voltages will be divided. So what is the total thing? Because our first objective will be to find out the current. So what is the total thing? The total impedance. Total impedance is equal to how much? That is RS plus JXS plus these two, RF plus JXF by 2 plus RB plus JXB by 2. So which will be equal to 2.02 plus J 2.79 plus 15.95 plus J 20.15 plus 0.99 plus J 1.06, which is equal to 30.6 at an angle of 51.7 degree. This is the total impedance. So stator current IS is equal to 110 divided by 30.6. There is no √2 factor here. Now, nowhere √2 divided by √2. You people have seen sometimes do this in single phase case also. Take it as if it is a line neutral. So you do 110 by √3 and so many things, so many other things. So this is equal to 3.59 ampere, right? So if it is 3.59 ampere, power factor is equal to cos of 51.7 degree, which is equal to 0.620. So then power input is equal to VI cos phi, which will give you 110 into 3.59 into 0.620, which is equal to 244 watt. So now let us find
Sir,
out.
110 was the input voltage.
Yeah, 110 was input voltage. So what is PGF? That is I square into RF. So this is 3.59 square into RF. RF is equal to 15.95 is equal to this 206 watt. PGB is equal to I square into RB is equal to 0.99 is equal to 12.8 watt. Okay, so total power, that is output mechanical wise, we know that it is equal to 1 minus S, that means 1 minus 0.05 into 206 minus 12.8 watt, which is equal to,
Sir?
184 watt. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, on the forward means PGFB I square into RF by 2, because the equivalent was RF by 2, you assume.
Why? What, you are completely confused. What is the air gap power? What is the air gap power? It is RF. Air gap,
Achha.
not input power. I am talking about RF. This part power.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But in the expression you substituted 15.45, which is RF by 2. So that was I was asking. Means it will be RF by 2, but you wrote only RF.
Did I did RF? In the first expression, long back, which while
No,
I
sir.
did,
Yes.
while
Yeah,
did-
means you
while
you
did I-
means you while writing you I think you said I square into RF. That's what I was saying. It should be I square into RF by 2, na? The RF power.
yeah, RF by 2.
Yes, sir. That was I was asking.
RF by 2. And it is this. Yeah, this is RF by 2, right? This is RF by 2, this is RB by 2, right? So this is the air gap power. No, this is the output power we have got. So then synchronous speed is how much? We will find out the torque. So torque is how much? One thing we can do here is, this is the internal output power. So actual output power is equal to 184 watt minus all the losses. All the losses is 24 plus 13, that much of loss. So which is nothing but equal to 147 watt. So the torque, synchronous speed is speed is equal to 1 minus s omega s. So it is synchronous speed is actually synchronous speed is the 2 pi into 60 into 1 by 2, because it's a 4 pole, which is nothing but 188.5 radian per second, that is sync speed, and the rotor speed will be is equal to 1 minus s, that is 0.95 into that 188.5, right? So which is nothing but 179 radian per second, right? So torque is equal to this power divided by this 147 by 179, which is equal to 0.821 Newton meter. And this way you can again calculate the efficiency. Efficiency you calculate by output power by input power. And yeah, so and efficiency during efficiency you should take stator copper loss also. Stator copper loss. But anyway, you have found out the input power earlier itself. But just I am writing stator copper loss will be 3.59 square into RS. RS is equal to 2.02 is equal to 26.0 watt. Okay. Okay. Forward field copper loss, you know how to PG into PG into S. PG into S. Another case it is PG forward into S, and this is PG backward into 2 minus S. These are the two losses of the thing that you can calculate. And one case you will get it is 10.3 watt. In another case you will get 25 watt.
Sir, sleep is 0.5 or 0.05? Sleep
is 0.05. This is a rated sleep. Almost it will be same as the 3-phase machine full load sleep. So I will stop here. Thank you for listening. In the next class, I will do how this machine can be started. That is the only thing that is remaining. Okay, I will stop now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.